Is sex addiction different from love addiction, or at least sometimes can they be interchange? Can those concepts be used interchangeably?
Well, I love these questions. We're getting a really sophisticated darn audience. I devote some time to that in Love and Addiction. First of all, there's something called Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous. They throw them together. I liken love addiction to opioid addiction and sex addiction to cocaine or stimulant addiction. Love addiction, in my experience, tends to be people who cement themselves down in relationships that they should escape. For example, a woman comes in and says, my
Excuse
husband
me.
beats me. And then you go, if you're naive, you say, oh, have you thought of leaving them? And then she'll say, well, I love him and he loves me. And when he's not beating me, he expresses that love. So love addiction is more like, why are you in a relationship that extends for a long period of time when it's destructive? And sex addiction tends to be having a multiple partners, quickly and rapidly interchanging them. So one seems more to parallel stimulant addiction and one more, an opioid, a narcotic, an narcoleptic kind of an addiction. So there is that big difference, I would say, if you wanted to divide them. But you can see those are loose categories. I mean, who made that up? Conceivably, and people do have rapid and multiple love addictions. They go from one love affair to another, and they decide. Well, you and I were talking about Anna Farah. She's been married and divorced twice before she was 40. Her second marriage and divorce, she had a good divorce. She has a good relationship with her husband. The first marriage cost her about $1 million. If you have to pay $1 million to every ex-husband or spouse, pretty soon that can add up. She, went to college to be with one man who rejected her as soon as she got there. And then she left him for the man she married that she had. So she's a human being who's never been out of a defining love relationship. And of course, you think, this is a very successful, very smart, very talented woman. Where's this coming from? And, she describes the fact that her parents had gotten married in college, maybe when they were 19, and they drummed into her that you're only allowed to have sex with one person. That's not the way it's worked out for Anna Farah. What's her last name? I'm saying Anna. Do you know her last name? I'm getting her last name. Anna Faris. Is it
It's Ferris if it's
F-A-R-R-I?
not. Yeah, but now I
It's
can't remember which one's the real
F-A-R-I-S.
one. Whatever.
And
Anna.
so she's somebody, and you might say, well, the sex, it's not exactly like she's a sex addict, but sex seems to be a part and parcel of her forming a relationship. So as soon as she left her second divorced husband, that same month she became involved and became engaged to another person. It would seem that a thoughtful person, she does an advice column called Unqualified and write a book that's very introspective. Somebody might say to her, do you want to think through exactly how you form permanent relationships, which haven't so far been close to permanent, and we're not putting you down. But are you maybe conceptualizing love in a way that's not helpful and accurate for you?
Yeah.